Okay, so there seems to be a resurgence every once in a while in fan fiction, whether it's One Direction or Taylor Swift or whoever is a very popular icon in the fan fiction world, which is an interesting genre because there have been fan fictions that came out of inspirations of One Direction, where people created fiction stories and had kind of based the fiction stories around the band members, so real people. And even though the band has been on like a permanent hiatus since 2015, it is still the subject of a lot of fan fiction. So there's even a Facebook group of uh, fan fiction just for One Direction, and then also one that's specific to Larry Stylinson. And people are sharing their favorite works or things that they like to, or like certain fan fiction that they're like really excited about, or even they've written themselves. So, in the spirit of that, I many months ago had heard about a fan fiction that was written sort of at the height of One Direction's fame, I think around 2013, 2014, and it was about Harry and Louis and Harry becoming a dad, and it must have been right after an interview that Harry gave, where he said that if he had a daughter, he would name her Darcy, so Darcy Styles. And so that uh, it's sort of like that share in an interview turned into a literary, what shall I call it? Sort of became like a fan fiction literary character. So why am I bringing this up? So, number one, there is some, I think that like there's been newer fan fiction that is showing up in like an archive website. In the post section, I posted the link to a couple of works that have been getting a lot of like traction in the Larry Stylinson fan fiction Facebook group. So that's number one. Number two, I had a comment in the section regarding there was a rumor that sort of showed up just out of the blue after Soccer Aid and before Glastonbury about, and it was on an Instagram that was in Italian about potentially a Larry Stylinson baby. Now, I haven't heard much else because it's been sort of drowned out by a lot of the sharing of things that happened at Glastonbury, and people on the hunt to see if they can find a photo of Harry and Louis. But somebody had commented that maybe, because we've seen Harry spending a lot of time in Italy, and it was in the early One Direction videos, or was it still X Factor Diaries? But it was when, like, the first year or two of the band, there was a group interview, and they were asked, what is your most romantic city, or where would you take someone on the most romantic date? And then Louis said Paris, and Harry said Rome. So it's interesting. We see a lot of Harry in Rome these days, but one person said that there's theories that Harry is ready for a family. He's he hasn't hinted at any new music or a new album, but that doesn't mean he's not working on one. But he's at a stage of his life where he wants to have a family. He's put out 3 albums. He's kind of like got certain things out of the way, which I can see, and that the buzz was that there was a fertility clinic that he was visiting. So, why am I bringing this up too? Okay, I'm going to piece it all together. So, the comment in the section where they talked about the mystery woman Carrie kissed at Glastonbury, someone is saying that maybe Harry's on the lookout for Darcy's mom, as in a surrogate, but a known surrogate. So, like, when you think of reproductive medicine and all that, there are different types of surrogates, right? There's the surrogate that, like, they call gestational, that they'll carry the baby for a couple, and they may or may not be related to the baby. There is a like a known surrogate that also ends up having a relational connection with the child afterwards. They don't vanish after they give birth, and that's usually where you're co-parenting with somebody that you don't have a pre-existing relationship with, and they not only are the gestational carrier, but they're also the social other parent. So it's kind of one of those contracts. I don't know that much about it, but I could see, I could kind of see that happening because Louis already has Freddie, but Harry. It just I can I just can't imagine Harry not having kids, and him and Niall are the only ones left in One Direction who don't have kids of their own. So my prediction is probably you'll see Harry and Niall become parents in the next 2, 3 years. But I just have a feeling that yes, Harry wants to be a father, and when I hear chatter like that, it does resonate. That tracks. Just my own intuition, and I could totally see for whatever reason having a surrogate that's also the co-parent that is maybe in the interest of privacy presented as a new relationship. And I mean, I'm all for people having the right to love who they love, but just he does kind of need like an egg, right? But yeah, so maybe it is like Project Darcy Styles would be so amazing. So in lieu of an album, maybe that is what he's working on, or maybe a bit of both. But I would totally support that. I mean, as I've been doing this Heartstrong Harry series, which was completely impromptu and just sort of inspired by kind of like some post Glastonbury reflections, I actually could really be behind that. Um, doesn't mean I don't believe that Harry and Louis can't be two dads. I just think that they can be two dads, but they'll need an egg. So, and Harry would like to have a child that is related to him, so he'll need an egg. Or you know what I mean? Like there's ways that people can have kids that are related to them in non-traditional ways, such as an egg donation from a brother or sister, or another type of donation from a brother. So it's um, it's feasible, but I don't know. I actually kind of feel a little excited if this is true. That's one of the rumors that I actually hope is really true. Is Harry having a baby Styles? Because I just remember there's an old footage of Harry in a recording studio, and I think he's only about 19 or 20, and he's walking around, I believe, with his goddaughter, and I see it once in a while in YouTube because he's like taking a break between recording, and he's really comfortably holding this little baby, which it's like he's a natural. So yeah, I mean, I definitely think that fatherhood, if that's what he wants, would be a wonderful thing on his path because a lot of fans, and even on the Larry Stylinson uh, Reddit page, there, there's I'm not the only one. There's several posts in the last 2 months where, and it was before Zara was announced that she was quote unquote dating Louis, where people were concerned that Harry was looking maybe tired, maybe sad, and he did the Tokyo Marathon, so part of it was and he was probably training really hard in addition to all the other stuff he does. So it could have just been like that fatigue, but at the same time, it it does look like what I said in my old video, that where are your angel eyes, Harry? And maybe he's sort of in what they call those sort of existential moments where you're reflecting on what really matters, and it's time for a pivot. But I'm hoping that maybe that's the only reason Harry's looked a little bit more subdued, is that he's really come to that conclusion that he'd like to experience fatherhood. So just random thoughts. It's a little kind of out of the segue of what I've been talking about with Harry and Louis and Larry and all that jazz. But I'm I read that comment and in the comment section here, and I just was like, yeah, I just have to kind of say this, that I'd love to see a baby Styles. So Anyway, I will have a few more reviews of a lot of Harry's bravery and his music, but definitely the